Hello guys, welcome to Bugs in Code. The problem that I'm going to explain is yet another query problem. But before that, if you are new here and a person who likes stuff related to coding, then you can subscribe the channel so that you get notified when I push a new video. So let me start with the problem statement. Here is the problem statement, and here is the problem statement, and it says that you're given an array. You're given an array of n elements and num queries. Okay. In each query, you are given three numbers L, R, and K, and you have to tell how many indices are there in between L and R inclusively, such that the frequency of AI from index I to n minus 1 is K. So I have to find the frequency from I to n minus 1, and then I have to tell whether the frequency is equal to K or not. This thing we have to do for a range which is from L to R. Let me explain with the example. Okay, so the example given here is having an array like 1 1 3 4 3, and we have queries like 0 2 2, 0 2 1, and 0 4 2. Let me tell you the meaning of these queries. So these queries basically means that I have left index as L and right index as R. So from left to right index, like this particular area, I have to tell how many elements are there with frequency 2 from I to k minus 1, like I to n minus 1. How many elements are there with having frequency 2? Okay, so for this one, from 0 to like last index, what is the frequency of this one? The frequency is 2. Okay, so I'm going to write 2 for this. Now for this one, what is the frequency of this one from this particular index to ending index? It is 1. Similarly, for this 3, the frequency is 2. Now I can see that in the range from 0 to 2, I have two elements which are having frequency 2. So I'm going to write 2 as my answer for the first query. So I will write 2 here. Okay, now let me do the same for the second query. I have 0 as the starting index and 1 like 2 as the ending index, and I have to tell how many elements are there with frequency 1 from I to n minus 1. So the range is same, and I can see that there is only one element which is having frequency 1. So I'm going to write 1 as the answer for second query. After that, I have to tell how many elements are there from index 0 to 4, like for this okay, for this particular range, how many elements are there which are having frequency 2 from 0 like that particular index to n minus 1. Okay, so the frequency of 1 is 2, 2 is 1. After that, this 3 is 2, this 4 is 1, and this 3 is 1. So I can see that there are only two elements which are having frequency 2, so I'm going to write 2 here for the third query. So this is something which is storing the answer for each query, and this is going to be my output. Now I hope you guys got the clear understanding of the problem statement, and let me just move to the solution part. Okay, so the example, let me write the example again. The example given to us was uh, an array is given which is having value 1 1 3 4 3, and three queries are given like 0 2 and 0 2 2, 0 2 1, and 0 4 2. Okay, so the first approach that comes to my mind after looking at this problem is for each query we can solve the problem. We can start a loop from like L to R, L to R, loop from L to R. From where this L and R comes? L and R comes from the current query contains L, R, and K. Okay, so I'm going to loop from L to R. And inside this, I'm for every element like I element, I'm going to loop from I to n minus 1 in order to find the frequency of this particular element like EM. And if inside this loop, if frequency equal like, okay, so whenever what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm finding the frequency of this element. So I'll find the frequency inside this loop. And after that, if frequency equal to like K, then I'm going to increase my counter. So I will also have a counter here. I will initialize a counter equal to 0 here, and I will increase the counter, and after the end, if my like whatever the value my counter is having, so I'm going to store it in my answer. So this is how we are going to solve this problem. Okay, so after looking at the solution, interviewer will say, okay, nice start. But this is something which is having like complexity of O of Q queries into N into N. So this is something which is not acceptable. So can you optimize it? I will say, okay, let me see how I can optimize this. Now I'm going to start an optimal approach. So I'm going to write approach to here. Okay, now approach to here. I have an array which is having value 11343, and okay, so let me extend this array. I'm also going to have value like 7 8 9 10, and I have to find for this particular index L to this particular index R how many elements are there like LR, and how many elements are there with frequency K. Now suppose that for this R I know how many elements are there with frequency K from 0 to like 0 to R. Yeah, I mean till 0 to R, how many elements are there which are having frequency K? And similarly for this like L, I know from 0 to L how many elements are there which are having frequency K. So I can calculate my solution for like the range L to R. How? This is a question. How we are going to calculate? We will simply have like this interval, and we have, okay, let me use a different pen. So we have this particular interval, and we have this interval. So if I subtract this interval, this particular interval from the greater interval, then I will get this range, and this is something which is want as our answer. So I will write my answer as like, okay, let me name it. So I'm going to name it as F. So this is something which is a frequency array. So I will write f of R and K minus f of L minus 1 and f of K. Is there any doubt here? Like what I'm doing is, I know from 0 to R how many elements are there with frequency K, and I know from 0 to L how many elements are there with frequency K. So I'm just going to subtract these particular elements because these are not going to be included in my range here. So I have to consider only element in the range. After that, there is one more condition, that if L equals to 0, then L minus 1 is something which is going to give me a like index out of bound. So in order to cope with that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to write my answer as f of R and K. There is no need to do L minus 1. Like I have to solve for this R. So this R is already having value from 0 to R. So I don't need to subtract any 0 minus 1 value here, which is out of bound. So in this case, my answer is going to be L minus R. Now the solution becomes simple. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to start a loop for each query. Like for each query, what I will do, I will find L as frequency of L and K. I will find my R as frequency of R and K. Okay. Okay, I mean I will find my L as actually query of 0 and query of 1. Current query of 1 is my R, and my K is something which is current query of 2. Now I will find my answer. What is my answer? My answer is dependent on, if my L double equals to 0, then my answer is frequency of R and K. Like how many elements are there from 0 to R which are having frequency K? Quite simple. Else, if my L is not equal to 0, then I will first find how many elements are there from 0 to K, from like 0 to R, and after that I will subtract from 0 to L minus 1 part, and then I will get from L to R. So I will subtract f of L minus 1 and K from this. Now this, I have got my answer in answer variable. So I'm just going to add my like list dot add answer. At the end I have to return list. This is how we are going to solve the problem. So this is the pseudocode for the problem. I want you to note this code somewhere because we are going to use the same code in order to solve the problem. But before that, you are going to ask a question from me that, hey, how you are going to calculate this frequency array? Okay, so let me now discuss about the frequency array. I have something which is frequency array. This frequency array is storing like for each like if I have any index like I and k. So what does this mean in the frequency array? It means that how many elements till okay, from 0 to I, or I can say till I index, from 0 to I index are there which are having frequency k from 0 to n minus 1, from 0 okay, from I to n minus 1. So this is what a particular index in the frequency array stores. Okay, now let me talk about, okay, so let me store it somewhere. So I'm going to just make it smaller and I'm going to move this here. After that, this frequency array is having like having row like particular column in the like row section. Like this particular row is storing what is the column, what is the index that I have. So we have index from 0 to n minus 1. So frequency as array is having total n size for the like index. And for the frequency is something which can have the maximum value of n. Like if I have all elements same like 1 1 1 1, so frequency is 4 and the size is also 4, so I'm going to store n plus 1 as my size. So this is the size of my frequency array. Now I'm going to solve for the same example that we have, like 1 1 3 4 3. This is my array, and I'm going to make a frequency array for like this particular array. And while I do this, you will get the intuition and the approach how we are going to like calculate the frequency array. I have n plus 1 columns, like from 0 1 2 3 4 5. I have n rows, n minus 1 rows. Okay, I have 0 1 2 3 4. Now this particular cell says that how many elements are there till this index 0 which are having value 1. But before that, let me iterate this array. So I will like iterate each index, and for each index I will find the value of frequency of that index from I to n minus 1, that element. Okay, let me do this. Initially I'm at this particular index which is 0, and frequency of this one from 0 to n minus 1 is 2. So I will say, okay, I have one element here which is having frequency 2 and the index is 0. Okay, after that I move to this particular element index. So for this index I can see that the frequency is 1 from I to n minus 1. So I will say, okay, for the index 1 I have one element which is having frequency 1. After that I will move to 2. So for this 2 I will say that, okay, I have one element which is having frequency like 2 at this particular index. At this particular index I have one element which is having frequency 1. After that, at this particular element I will say that I have one element which is having frequency 1. Okay, so this is my frequency array. Now this frequency array is currently storing that at this index what is the value of particular index. Like at this index I have one element with frequency like 1, frequency 2. So clear. Like now what I'm going to do is I need 4 till this index, not at this particular index. So in order to find the elements with particular frequency till this index, I'm going to do prefix sum in this array. So how I will do prefix sum? I know that for this like index 0 till this index 0, I have 0 and 1. I have one element with frequency 2. So for this element 1, I will have this element as well, 1 with frequency 2. So by the end of this index 1, I have one element with frequency 1 and one element with frequency 2. I hope it is clear to you. After that, by the ending of this index 2, by the ending of this index 2, I have one element with frequency 1 and two element with frequency 2. Okay. After that, by the end of this index, I have one element, I have two elements with frequency 1. Okay. How many elements are there? I have now this one plus this one is 2. By the by the ending of this 0 index, I have two elements like 1 and 4 with the frequency 1 and two elements with frequency 2. And by the ending of this last index 4, I have three elements with frequency 1 and two elements with frequency 2. Okay, now I have this frequency array. And remember what were the queries that we have? The queries that we have were 0 to 2 and 0 to 1 and 0 to 0 4 2. Okay, it says that how many elements are there from 0 to 4 which are having frequency 2. So I can simply find it that I will find array of 4 and 2. Frequency of 4 and 2. So what is the value of frequency 4 and 2? It is 2. So for this query, answer is going to be 2. Now for this array, how many elements are there from 0 to 2 which are having frequency 1? So I will simply write f of 2 to 1. Why I am not using the formula f of r and k minus f of l minus 1 and k? Because I'm having lower index as 0, so in that case I'm just going to find the value of right, like f of r and k is going to be my answer in that case if l is equal to 0. Okay, so that's why I'm doing f of 2 1. What is the value f of 2 1? F of 2 and 1 is having answer as 1. So for this query, answer is going to be 1. Now similarly, f of 2 and 2, f of 2 is storing value 2. So this is how 2 is going to be my answer for this. Now this is the answer output for this index. Now we can also have answer queries like from 2 to 4 what we have. So from 2, in order to find from 2 to 4, what I will do is, okay, from 2 to 4, how many elements are there with frequency 2? How to calculate it? From 2 to 4, in order to find from 2 to 4, so I have this array. Okay, now this is like messy stuff and I'm going to move it. Okay, so I have this array like 1 1 3 4 3, and from 2 to 4 in this range I have to tell how many elements are there with frequency 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm first of all I'm going to write f of 4 and 2. This means that how many elements are there till this index 4 from 0 to 4 which are having frequency 2. So how many elements are there? Okay, we have two elements. After that, how many elements are there till this second index? Okay, till this first index, like f of 2 minus 1, because 2 is my lower index, and 2. So f of 1 and 2, f of 1 and 2, it says that f of 0 1 and 2, it says that I have one element with frequency 2 which is this one. So I'm simply going to do 2 minus 1, like f of 4 2 minus f of 2 2. So f of 1 2. So after that I will get 1 as my answer. So is it right? Let's see. In this range I have only one element 3 which is having frequency 1, which is having frequency 2 from this particular index to the last index. So this is how we are going to solve this problem. I hope you guys got the clear intuition like how we are solving this problem and approach as well. So now let me show you the code. Okay, so let me make it smaller, and I'm going to move my window by this way. Let me set up the code. I know it's not visible to you. Now I hope the code is visible to you. Okay, so now this is the code, and you can see that first of all I'm calculating my frequency array. In order to calculate frequency array, I was starting like first of all I was checking for each index. This is what I have told you while in the approach, and after that I am performing the prefix sum. Prefix sum, this is for at the particular index, like how many elements are there which are having frequency as a particular given frequency. And after that, for this, I am calculating till that particular index how many elements are there. So in order to achieve that, we have to do the prefix sum. Now at the last, I am doing the same stuff that I have already explained you in the approach, and I even also told you to note that code. So this is what we are going simply. Now this is the C++ code in parallel. I hope you guys are clear with the code and you don't have any doubt. So if you have any doubt, let me know in the comment section. This is all about this problem and the solution. Thank you.